WGAL News 8 Today starts now.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday. This is a live look from our Gettysburg Skycam. It's April 8th today. It's also an impact morning because it's below freezing in many parts of the Susquehanna Valley. Hi, everybody. I'm Matt Barquero.
And I'm Regina Ahn. We're joined by Chief Meteorologist Christine Ferreira. And Christine, it's an impact morning, but it's not going to last all day long. So
no,
that's good
not
news
at all.
there.
Just the morning hours until 9. That's when we have that freeze warning in effect. And this is because the growing season has already started. So fruit farmers especially concerned, folks with, some precious buds coming out of the ground, a little bit of cool weather crops already showing their head out there. So please use caution and make sure you cover that sensitive vegetation this morning. As far as our temperatures go, we are in the 20s and low 30s. It's 23 degrees in Lewistown, 27 in Lancaster, 24 in York, and 30 degrees in Harrisburg. Typically in these setups where we get the clear skies and the calmer light winds, our low temperatures come right around sunrise, if not shortly thereafter. So we still have another hour or so for temperatures to slide. Here's a look at the 12-hour forecast today. Wall-to-wall sunshine. Temperatures are going to get up into the 50s for highs. A little warmer than yesterday and not as windy. So those are two positives for our forecast today. Coming up tomorrow, we go for 60 and 70s by Friday. We'll talk about the gradual climb in just a few minutes. Let's go back to Regina now and check in on the roads. Good morning.
Good morning, Christine. Good morning, everyone. Right now, we're looking good. No crashes throughout the morning and no incidents that will slow you down. And taking a peek in Manheim Township, Lancaster County, look at that sunrise. Beautiful there on 283 and 30 interchange. Looks like a lovely morning drive for folks in Manheim Township. If you're traveling to Lancaster from Lebanon, 34-minute drive there on 72 southbound. A little slow if you're headed there from Harrisburg, 32-minute drive on 283 eastbound. Ephrata to Lancaster, 8-minute drive on 222. We'll have another update in a few minutes.
This has been a Lancaster Toyota traffic report.
The U.S. and Iran have agreed to a 2-week ceasefire less than 2 hours before President Trump's deadline that he set to attack the country.
Negotiations are scheduled to begin on Friday, but there are still questions about the Strait of Hormuz and the future of Iran's nuclear supplies.
News 8's Rachel Hersheimer joining us live from Washington this morning. A lot going on, Rachel, but I guess what we'd like to know now is what led to the president and to Iran to agree to this.
Ultimately, Matt and Regina, President Trump said based on conversations he had with officials from Pakistan, he decided to hold off on essentially bombing Iran back to the Stone Ages for the next 2 weeks as negotiations get underway. The president also posted a statement on social media which reads in part, quote, "They requested that I hold off the destructive force being sent tonight to Iran and subject to the Islamic Republic of Iran agreeing to the complete, immediate and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz," adding Iran's proposal is a quote, "workable basis to start negotiations." At this point, it is unclear who is in charge of the strait. The Associated Press is reporting Iran's foreign minister said passage through the strait would be allowed under Iranian military management. There are also major questions about the ceasefire plan after Iran released different versions of its proposal. In the Farsi version, it included acceptance of enrichment, but left it out from English copies. We reached out to the White House for clarity because one of the president's goals has been ensuring Iran can't get a nuclear weapon, but we have not received a response yet. Now, despite the president's dramatic shift and plea for peace, strikes continued overnight in places like Israel and Bahrain. And shortly after President Trump's ceasefire announcement, we did see oil prices drop significantly, but analysts are warning against too much optimism. Back to you.
We're only a couple hours into this. We'll see what happens in the hours and days to come. Rachel, I know that you're also gathering reaction from lawmakers on this news. What are they saying?
Yeah, so lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are ultimately very happy and relieved that President Trump decided to hold off on essentially obliterating Iran's power plants and bridges. But right now, there are many Democrats that are calling on President Trump's cabinet to invoke the 25th Amendment and remove the president from office or have Congress impeach the president altogether. Both of those two scenarios are highly unlikely. But short of that, Democrats just want to limit President Trump's power. We heard from House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries yesterday, who said that Democrats will force a vote on a war powers resolution next week, although many similar bills have failed in the past. On the Republican side, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, one of the biggest supporters of the war in Iran, says he wants Congress to weigh in on any deal the president makes. He's also demanding free navigation of the Strait of Hormuz and for the U.S. to remove all of Iran's highly enriched uranium. Back to you.
All right. Thanks, Rachel. Live from Washington. As Rachel mentioned, oil plummeted overnight overnight as the news of this ceasefire came to light. It's now down below $100 a barrel, so we'll watch how that affects gas prices. Overnight, though, the state average for a gallon of regular did go up another penny. It's now at $4.20. That's the state average in Pennsylvania. It's up $1.08 a gallon since the start of the war in Iran. Now, most of the Susquehanna Valley has pricings averaging higher than the state average, as you can see right there. Only a few counties are lower than the state average, and that would be Franklin and York counties. And New Hope Ministries in York and Cumberland counties is helping people who are struggling to make ends meet as prices rise during the war. The nonprofit has a food pantry in Dillsburg, but they're helping with more than just food. That includes gas cards, housing, heating, and utilities.
One of the easiest things that we can do is here's a gas card. Go get your fuel tank filled. Go meet your personal goals.
Which is nuts. Who can afford $1 increase on gas? That's crazy. So that or heating oil, they're both nuts.
New Hope offers other services such as helping people finance their vehicles and find jobs.
The stock market also reacting to the news of the ceasefire with Iran by, you see there, the stock market futures up sharply this morning. The Dow Jones, you see the implied open at more than 1,000 points in the green. The NASDAQ implied open more than 800 points up. It's 6:04, and several religious organizations and nonprofits in the Susquehanna Valley are getting state grants to help improve their security. And the move comes as some faith-based groups across the country have been attacked. News 8's Gabrielle Thomas joining us live from Harrisburg with how one religious group is hoping that this money will help protect its own members. Gabrielle?
Good morning, Matt and Regina. Well, the rabbi here at Temple of Shalom in Harrisburg says keeping its congregation safe is its main priority, and they will continue to do that with more help from that security grant funding program. Now, keep in mind, though, that just about 200 Pennsylvania faith-based organizations and nonprofits, including 24 in the Susquehanna Valley, will receive grant funding. That money will go toward things like security planning, training, and upgraded technology throughout the space. And at Temple of Shalom, policies have already changed. There is no longer an open door policy, and services inside the chapel are monitored by security. We talked to the rabbi, and she says every week she preaches peace with hopes that things will change.
To see so many of my family get attacked for just simply wanting to exist, it's heart-wrenching. And I don't blame my congregants who are scared to show up for services, who are scared to show up for holiday observances, because they're afraid of all of these attacks.
Now, the rabbi says the temple is expected to receive $25,000, and with increased security, they'll have more opportunities to serve as a safe space for the community. Reporting live here in Harrisburg, I'm Gabrielle Thomas, WGAL News 8.
All right, thanks, Gabrielle. Happening tonight, Governor Josh Shapiro set to speak with Reverend Al Sharpton at a political conference. The discussion at the National Action Network Convention in New York set to focus on challenges facing Black Americans. Shapiro will be one of several elected officials and Democratic leaders at the convention, alongside former Vice President Kamala Harris, Maryland Governor Wes Moore, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, and former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, all of them, including Shapiro, being talked about as possible 2028 presidential contenders. Also today, Democratic primary candidates in the race for the state's 199th House district will hold a town hall. That district includes Carlisle and multiple other townships in Cumberland County. Candidates Rick Christie and Tawanda Stallworth will answer questions about their top priorities ahead of the May primary election. The event is at 6 tonight at Dickinson College. Incumbent Republican Barbara Gleim is seeking re-election. She will face the winner of the Democratic primary. The school district of Lancaster's board of directors outlining how it plans to close that $10 million budget deficit it's been grappling with. It says that it wants to cut the number of middle school and elementary school teachers to get class sizes around 25 students in the middle school and 20 or 21 students in the elementary schools. It also plans to cut some specialist positions, including elementary reading specialists. It says those positions were added with COVID-era funding that the state no longer gives to the district. It also plans to cut after-school care busing.
I just want to reiterate that none of this is easy, and that our prime directive is to the students of this district to ensure that they have the educational program that they deserve, that they're able to read and do basic math in order to be successful in life. So these are all very difficult decisions.
The board also laid out many more smaller cuts it plans to make, including with contracts with different services.
Right now in Lancaster County, a road is closed this morning as work to fix the sinkhole continues on the border of East and West Hempfield townships. Here's a live look in the area there with the sinkhole. It opened on Stony Battery Road between Lynx Avenue and Snapper Dam Road. East Hempfield Township leaders say Stony Battery Road is closed to traffic between Kaufman Road and Church Street. Residents say this is not the first time they've seen a problem in the area.
Over the winter, there was a water main break right over here, and water was gushing down the road. After they had that all buttoned up, it happened again. They had to come back and redo it. So I assumed this had something to do with the water erosion underneath the road.
And the township says that road will be closed until tomorrow or Friday.
Today in York County, the Pennsylvania Family Support Alliance is planting flags to raise awareness about child abuse prevention. Earlier this month, flags planted at the state capitol in Harrisburg. You can see video of that happening right here. Following the news conference today in Spring-Sbury Township, 260 of these blue flags will be planted to symbolize the number of child abuse cases in York County. This is scheduled to happen at 1 this afternoon at the York County Emergency Services Center on Davies Drive.